Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 BMW X3 M Competition. Huge shout out to 704 Exotics for providing this SUV for me today. They're always getting in some very cool inventory. That link is down in the description. So this X3 is finished off in Alpine White. They have a starting MSRP just over $76,000. And underneath the hood, this is powered by the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder twin power turbo. It is paired to the 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 503 horsepower, 457 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,600-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. This has a top speed of 170 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 17.2 gallons. You'll expect to see around 15 miles per gallon in the city, 20 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.8 inches. Its overall length is 186. It has a width of 74.7 and a height of 65.7 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, you'll notice that we do have some subtle differences compared to a regular X3. Up front, this has a completely different lower section for the bumper. There's also the sensor for the adaptive cruise, parking sensors as well, and then a lot of inlets to provide additional cooling to that engine. Everything is finished off in gloss black as well, including the kidney grille, where there's the forward-facing camera, and then a lot more cutouts. X3M badge is also on that driver's side. This also has a dark housing for the LEDs up front. So the headlights, high beams, DRLs, and turn signals, everything is LED, and that dark housing matches nicely with the rest of the gloss black. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a very nice set of wheels. There's the red M Sport brakes as well, and then that two-tone design with that multi-spoke pattern. There's also a gloss black trim accent just behind that tire. There's the power folding side mirrors, which have the camera and the turn signal, and then no sunroof for this model, which is interesting to note. But there's gloss black roof racks up top, all the gloss black surrounding the windows there, and then some very nice lines that run down the side, including that lower side skirt there to give it a really nice look. Now, this also has a two-tone design for the integrated spoiler. There's the third brake light and the wiper blade. There's the dark housings for the LEDs for the rear there. There's the backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then that quad-tip dual exhaust, which we can start up. This does have remote start, so triple tap on that lock button, and it will start right up. You can also triple tap on the key fob again to shut it off when you are ready. Now, you can also use the button on the key fob or the electronic button up underneath to open up that lift gate, where this has a good bit of space. Currently, there's some items in the back at the moment, but you have a lot of room to place in several items. There's also a tie-down hook, a 12-volt. You can also install that cover so that way you can slide that. And you can also fold down these back seats. You can just pull on them from back here, which is nice, and then have them go all the way flat to give you that much more interior space. So for its smaller size, you actually have a good bit of room to make it practical if you're not looking for a large SUV. Now, as we work our way to the interior, you just heard it lock. You can actually lock and unlock this with all 4 door handles, which is nice. Now, for this X3M, there's the manual adjusting sunshade. There's carbon fiber with the interior lighting, also the Tartufo leather. There's the window control, and then a little bit of storage in that lower section. And then it's very easy to flip these seats back up, where all 3 are individual. So you can adjust all of those as needed with that nice design for the seats. And now at 5'10", hopping into the back, there's no storage pockets behind the seats, which is interesting. But you do get your climate vents, all of your adjustments, along with the heated seat controls, auxiliaries, and a little bit of storage down below. And then at my height, 5'10", I have about 2 or 3 inches of headroom. So it's actually pretty spacious and comfortable. These seats do recline as well, so it makes you a little bit more comfortable in the back for this smaller size. Now, right in the middle, you have the armrest along with the 2 cup holders that you can use as needed. And you can also fold down that middle seat if you need to. And then here's a look at visibility. It's very open feeling. For how small this SUV is, there's definitely a lot of glass, which is nice. Now, up front, the door panel is just like the rear. There's the memory seating adjustments. You have all the window controls, side mirror adjustments, liftgate release, and more storage. And then this model is equipped with the Harman Kardon audio. XM Competition is down on the door sill there, X3M. And then we have the very nice front seats with that M badge there, a little bit more lateral support to them. And as we hop up front now, we have the solid leather steering wheel with M1 and M2. There's brushed aluminum accents. It's on these paddle shifters here. You get cruise, adaptive cruise, all of those settings on the left side. This is a heated M steering wheel. And then on the right side, there's volume, tuning, you have Bluetooth and voice commands. But let's start this back up with my foot on the brake. We can bring this to life. And coming back to the gauge cluster now, on the left side there's your fuel along with your miles per hour. Right side you get the tach and engine temperature, and then there's some information that you can go through over on that right side as well. Simply just use the top of the turn signal stalk over here, and just by pushing on that we can cycle through some of this information. So it just depends on what you would like to see. You can even pull up the driving modes that the vehicle is currently in. So you have quite a lot that you can view right there. Now on this left side, there's a little bit of storage down below. There's also your headlight adjustments with some brushed aluminum. This does have a head-up display. It shows miles per hour and the speed limit sign. And then for the infotainment system, you have a lot more that you can go through. So if we push on home, you can get through all this information here. So you have these widgets that you can monitor and scroll through, and then you have all these shortcuts over on the left side. Now if we go into car, you have a lot more. You can use the controls down below to further get through this. So there's driving information, you can pull up your sport displays. So for the highest trim level here, you have quite a lot of performance technology. You can configure M1 and M2 as well, so that way you can have those set up and ready to go. You can look at the statuses, go through a lot of different settings. So you can view all of this information, even go through your driver profiles, and you can pull up Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And then you have the rest of the shortcuts down below to further get through this information if you don't want to use it as a touchscreen system. There's also a shortcut to the intelligent safety, so you can get through all of that information as well. Underneath that, there's another LCD screen for your climates, so you can monitor all of that information. This even gets heated and ventilated seats, which will pull up with one button there, so depending on what you need to use. And then you have the rest of the controls surrounding that. Now there's your power and volume, all of your tuning and presets. This also gets wireless charging, there's cup holders and auxiliaries, all of those shortcuts that I mentioned earlier. And then if we put this into reverse now, this has the backup camera along with the 360 view. So you can go through all of these different angles, just depending on what you need to see around. And it's also equipped with the automatic parking and the backup assistance. Now, if we put this into drive by going over to the right, you can do that one more time for sport mode. You can push on this button on the left side, and that will pull up with your forward-facing camera. Now, park is located on the back side, and you have the adjustment to go through the transmission settings, which is nice. Now, there's traction control, your parking sensors, engine start-stop, and then a few different modes. If you push on M mode, you can go from road to sport and track as well, where it not only changes the gauge cluster there, but also pull up your tach on the head-up display. Setup is how you can get into M1 and M2. There's your exhaust note, auto hold, and the e-brake, along with a downhill assist. And then you get a little bit of storage with an auxiliary in the armrest there. And then the glove box also has a good bit of space as well. And then up top, there's the garage door buttons, along with the dome lights, and then you have your call button located up top too. And then here's a look at visibility. It's pretty easy to see over both shoulders. As we work our way back to the left side, you even have a good bit of visibility this way too. So you can easily see over both shoulders. As we set up now behind the wheel for the X3 M Competition, I've been able to drive these a handful of times. This is a really fun, highly performance-oriented SUV. If you're not looking for a large SUV, you could argue that this is a lot of money for a smaller size SUV, but you're also getting the performance from BMW with the M Competition model. So you are paying for all of that, not just the smaller size that this is. So you could compare this to some other vehicles of the same size, but they aren't going to have nearly the same performance that this X3 has. And it's definitely worth it to me if you want that added performance. So we'll put it into the manual setting here, and we'll drop down to second gear. What I love about this vehicle too is that you can actually adjust the transmission. So right now, we are in the quickest shifts, which just gives you that drama. For a luxury focused SUV like this, you actually have some characteristics to it that really give you that extra performance. So if you're looking for something a little bit more practical with an SUV over a coupe or a sedan, you can still get those driving characteristics. Now, if you put the transmission down into setting 1 and we do this again, they're a little bit delayed in the shifts there. Hopefully you're able to hear that. And it works both ways with just letting the vehicle drive too. So you don't have to use the paddle shifters, and the vehicle will respond depending on how you have the transmission setting. So you have so many different personalities with this SUV to drive it depending on the conditions that you have in front of you. And as far as driving this, I own an X5. It's not a performance-oriented model like this, but as far as the ride goes, I have the adaptive suspension in my vehicle. It's not in this model because it's the M Competition. So we actually do have a different suspension setup, but this is going to drive very nice. If you're buying the M Comp, you know you're getting a vehicle that's going to be a little bit stiffer. It's still something that is daily driver friendly, but it's going to give you a little bit more stiffness for handling and purposes like that. But by no means is it back braking or not able to be daily driven. And in the normal automatic setting, it does let you rev out just a little bit higher there, especially in sport mode. But this is going to be a great daily driver, one that is going to be comfortable, well refined, it's quiet, aside from the exhaust note there. But it's just going to give you a luxury focused SUV that gives you that performance too. And BMW is really good at combining the two. So again, if you need the practicality, something a little bit bigger, you can still get some very nice performance. This is a vehicle that you could take on some back roads, maybe out on the track. It's going to have a little bit more body roll. It's a lot taller, of course, than a coupe or a sedan, but it's still something that you can rip on and have a lot of fun behind the wheel. So from second gear, here we go. And with a small acceleration, this has so much more potential than what I'm doing today, but you definitely get a lot to play with this X3. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel now. And for this model, we don't have that large curved screen that I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of. For the smaller size of the X3 here, I think it looks really good with the separated screens. It fits nicely with the dash here as well. But it's such a nice vehicle to drive. Being a BMW, you're going to get those luxuries, those creature comforts, and for the price, again, just a well-rounded, smaller size vehicle. Some people aren't looking for a large SUV, and so if this is the size that you want, it's going to be worth it to you, especially if you're in the city. You have the parking assist that can help you as well. So it's a very maneuverable vehicle for its size, and pretty quick and nimble too, which is a really good combo. I wish we could do some more performance driving today just to really show how this vehicle is to drive. But it's so much fun, it puts a smile on your face, and it would be a great daily driver. I am shocked with the space that you have in the back. I own an X5, and it's very spacious in the back of this, especially when you compare it to my X5, which is slightly larger. So it's nice to see how BMW has given you interior storage, or an ample amount for the smaller size that this is. So again, just a well-rounded, smaller size vehicle. But that's going to wrap it up for this 2024 BMW X3 M Competition. Once again, a huge shout out to 704 Exotics for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, link down below. Give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.